Hi, my name is Dave McLean. Thank you for welcoming me into your device. I promise that I will not steal all of your any of your data. I will not steal any of your data. In fact, I'm here to give you some information about me and being a local actor. Thanks to Rufus Tillman for bringing together some Houston area actors and giving us an opportunity to share what we've learned and hopefully encourage others. First, a little bit about me. I'm originally from Cleveland, Ohio. Went to college at Edinboro University of Pennsylvania and then became a high school history teacher in Chesapeake, Virginia. After 7 years of that, I decided I wanted to experience a little bit more of life, maybe even be a part of history, so I joined the Army. I served as a public affairs soldier and supervisor for 20 years, and when it came time to retire, my wife and I decided to settle in the Houston area, and I decided I wanted to give screen acting a shot. I had been acting in plays off and on since 1981, and I thought it would be really cool to get paid to act someday. I also had a lot of experience in broadcast journalism from being in public affairs in the Army, so I brought all that performing and technical experience together and decided to make the transition and give it a shot. So, here's a little bit about my journey.
Hi, I'm Charlotte Delaney Riggs. I'm an actress. I'm 12 years old and I live in Austin, Texas.
Alright, I am Naraf Savad and this is Unrehearsed.
It's Vanessa Alanis and I'm an actress here in Houston and I'm really excited about this project today. I'm going to be doing a Q&A for you guys, so I hope you enjoy.
Hi, my name is Lisa Valdez. I am in San Antonio, Texas, and I'm a model and an actress. And I'm so excited to be a part of this Unrehearsed.
Patrick Lascarbo from Austin, Texas. I'm just going to read off these questions and do them the way Rufus wanted me to. That's how it's going to work. My biggest influence growing up was Robin Williams. The reason it was Robin Williams was because, first of all, I love improv. I love being able to just take a idea and expound upon it. And he was phenomenal at that. He actually used to go out on stage with absolutely no written jokes out at all, nothing written out. And then he would actually just come up with a couple ideas of what he wanted to talk about and just do an hour and a half on a couple ideas that he just wanted to do. What he did with that, though, is he parlayed that comedic timing and he parlayed that incredibly fast-thinking brain that he had into the ability to slow it down and do things like Dead Poets Society and do things like The Fisher King and do things like What Dreams May Come and 1 Hour Photo, things like that, or Bicentennial Man, Aladdin, and he just spanned such a range that he was probably my biggest idol growing up on what you could do to bring joy to people and also to just bring awareness to people as well. Like with Dead Poets Society, brought huge awareness to the way kids were parented back then and the way that suicide was approached, things like that.
Definitely Angela Bassett. Now, it wasn't a major conversation when I was growing up about the power of representation, but it's a major topic now, and it's a reason for that. Because to see someone who looks like you, it's inspiring on a whole other level. Like, you know it's possible because you see people doing it, but to see your people, and in my case, an African-American woman, a melanin-filled woman, be in these leading and strong supporting roles, I used to just watch like, I can be her when I grow up. Now, obviously, I can't be Angela Bassett, but I could be in that position. It made it realistically in my mind, like, know that it was possible for me to be in a television screen or to be in a film at that time. Now, my mother had an amazing collection of movies, most were which were not made for children to view, but I watched all of them. And Angela Bassett, Reva Devereaux and Boys in the Hood, Bernadine and Waiting to Excel, Betty Shabazz and the Malcolm X film, which is a little bit later, I believe. Yeah, and then, of course, Anna Mae Bullock, a.k.a. Tina Turner, and What's Love Got to Do with It. All these roles, even in her weak moments that she was depicting, or vulnerabilities and the brokenness of the story that she was portraying of these characters, of these people, she was powerful. Like, Angela Bassett was powerful in these films, and to this day she still is. But as a child watching that and seeing this beautiful black woman do that, you're like, that may not be my mom, but I can be her. I can totally be her. And the impact, the influence that it had on me then, yes, it was great, and it was positive, and it is like amazing. Angela Bassett is everything.
And I'm gonna say Maria Felix. She was an actress from the 1940s. She was very beautiful. She was very talented, and she has this strong presence. If you guys don't know who she is, please Google her. You will love her.
I think I would have to say, you know who I loved? I loved John Travolta and Olivia Newton-John in Grease. And as a young kid, these were like so cool and amazing and cute and beautiful stars. And I think that when I first saw them being so young, I was like, I want to be them. I want to be a superstar. I want to be on television. So yeah, I think so.
Well, acting wasn't really on my radar when I was a young child, but as I started acting in school plays, junior high, high school, into college, Steven Spielberg was making movies like E.T., Raiders of the Lost Ark, and the Indiana Jones movies. And then, of course, moving on to Jurassic Park, Schindler's List, and so many others. As I was coming up in the theater, these were the kind of movies that I really respected. There was such a variety, such a combination of fun and seriousness, and I just really respect him even now as a great director who made so many great movies. But we're getting past my childhood, so back up.
My biggest influence was George Carlin, because he says things as they are, he's hilarious, and he's pretty much a genius.
Titanic 1997. I'll never let go, Jack. I'll never let go. So I'm sure you guys know it. So yeah, that's one of my favorite movies.
Gosh, we said a few lines from my favorite childhood movie. Aha, see if you can guess this one. Hey, son, you want to go fishing? Sure, Dad, but I have homework. That's okay, son. You can do it on the boat. Gee, Dad. See if you can guess that one. Put it in the comments. A great hit.
The first question, Boys in the Hood. Now, of course, Angela Bassett, one of the great women I saw in there, impacted me. But because this movie is about being raised in the hood, and even though it's centered around the young men in the hood, we were being raised in the hood, and we saw a lot of these men that were like that. There was a lot of drug dealers in the neighborhood. It was a lot. So to see Ricky, the character that was choosing not and determined not to be a product of his environment, was inspiring. But to see Ricky get shot, so because of that, the line where he's like, Ricky, has stuck with me since then. Also, another impeccable, talented black woman. Well, this whole film had blackness, melanin all in it. The Color Purple. But that scene, the entire scene when Sugar Avery is singing and she goes from the sister, you are on my mind to the speed, Lord, and the whole entire scene unfolds and she's in the church and she faces her dad and they embrace and she's like, see, Daddy, sinners have soul too. One of my favorite lines from one of my favorite movies. Now, I didn't really feel that in my spirit as a child, but as a woman, as a grown person, I feel it. Oh my God. That line, by the end of that scene, I am bawling. I am talking about just that ugly cry because it's touching and it moves me every single time. Every single time.
One of my favorite childhood movies is Back to the Future. And when Marty goes back, he meets his mom. And when he wakes up, his mom keeps on calling him Calvin. And so he asks, why do you keep calling me Calvin? Well, that's your name, isn't it? Calvin Klein? It's written all over your underwear. I just thought that was funny because that's his mom he's talking to, and it's a brand that they've never seen because he went back in the future. Wait.
He went to the past.
He went
He went back to 1955.
He went to the future!
This really depends on when childhood starts or ends or doesn't end, I guess. I still consider myself pretty childlike. My favorite movie, I mean, Highlander is one of my favorite movies. It stars Christopher Lambert and Sean Connery, and they're both immortal, by the way. It's about immortals, and one of my favorite lines he says is, "I'm Connor MacLeod of the Clan MacLeod. I was born in 1518 in the village of Glenfinnan on the shores of Lochshel, and I am immortal." And then he stabs himself with. He actually has this girl that he's interested in. He's holding a knife in her hand. He has her stab him, and then that leads to a love scene. So that was I mean, I don't know how that kind of leads to a love scene, but that's one of my favorite movies. But that was when I was like 12 or 13. I think if I went to my favorite childhood movie period, it would be Star Wars. And my favorite line would be, "Hokey religions and ancient weaponry are no good for a blast at your side, kid." Or, I'm the captain of the Millennium Falcon. It's the Kessel Run in 12 parsecs. Haven't you heard of the Millennium Falcon? Either I want to kill her or I'm starting to like her. You know, there are a bunch of Han Solo lines because he's like my favorite character of all time.
II. A movie that was made when I was very small was one of my favorite childhood movies, and that was Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. Great songs, lots of fun, not so many quotable lines. So to quote one of my favorite childhood movies, I'm going to go back to one that my mother grew up with, and therefore I did too, and that was The Wizard of Oz. And in The Wizard of Oz, you really only need to remember one line. There's no place like home.
I don't think acting is something you just randomly choose to do. I don't think you're just influenced by one singular event or one specific person. I think that we artists are born with these gifts. I think we're created and they're woven into the entire existence of who we are. And although it takes some of us a little bit longer to recognize it and decide to actually be who we are and then become a greater version of ourselves, yeah, I think it's just about that moment when you decide to be and then become a greater version of yourself. But I don't think that you just choose to be an actor just randomly. I don't think that's how that, I don't think that's the way it goes. So my camera just randomly decided to shut down by itself. I guess it was the temper or something, the internal temperature was too high. But as I was saying, I think being an actor is just about the moment when you decide to be who you already are, and then just train and work and study and perfect and become a better version of who you are. So I would say who or what influenced me to become an actor or choose acting as my profession. I feel like God and the gifts he gave me. And yeah, that's pretty much that.
I'm gonna say my mom. She was always very supportive. She loved to sing, she loved music, she loved to dance, and I grew up in a home watching that, and watching novelas and watching all those films. I was always wanting to be there. I knew I was going to be on stage one day, and I think she was really the one who really influenced me, and she just believed in me, and I think that'll be her, which I'm really grateful for.
Honestly, ever since I can remember, I wanted to be an actress or a model. I just wanted to be famous and seen on television or in magazines. So at that time, I didn't really have an influence. It was just, this is what I wanted to do. When I saw people on television or on magazines, I was like, oh my God, I want to do that. That's so me. So not anyone in particular, I guess myself.
I think more it was me because I started acting, well, in plays, and I just liked it. Or maybe Mona Lee or Marco Perella, they both helped a lot. I take some of their classes.
I loved doing theater and continued into adulthood doing it. When I retired from the Army, I just remember thinking how great it would be to get paid for acting someday, even one time. So I set my sights on making the transition from theater acting to screen acting, and we'll get to that later.
Say I spent most of my life being told not to act as a profession. As a matter of fact, that's why I don't have a degree in theater. I went to theater schools. I went to school for theater specifically. I was accepted to theater schools, but I didn't go because I was told, like, it's so hard, you'll never make it, it's not guaranteed money, you need a job, you need to be able to provide for a family. And of course I had kids and whatnot, so it did make some sense. But of course I started back in the day where there wasn't an internet where I could go on and just submit for a bunch of roles. I had to lick stamps and put things in an envelope, and I had to do it that way. So I spent like $3,000 sending out stuff to getting headshots and sending it all out to casting directors, because I had a book of casting directors I actually bought from a Barnes & Noble back then, and it had the names and addresses of all the big casting directors. So I sent it out to them and I never got anything back. So the thing that turned me around was I had actually taken a 13-year break from acting at all, and I was acting at a little community theater out in Cottonwood Shores, Texas, called the Hill Country Community Theater. And the guy who came in, a guy by the name of Mike Rademacher's, he actually was a stand-in for John Goodman for a number of years. And we were just talking about the industry as a whole, and he was like, well, there's like casting websites that you can go on now and you can submit. And I was like, there are? So I went and I started.
So my advice for you aspiring actors, it's believe in yourself, follow your dreams, work really hard, and do your very, very best. Ask questions, do your research, don't wait for anybody, and don't wait too long, because I did, and I wish I would have done it sooner, but hey, God knows why. So yeah, take classes, workshops. Remember, the more you practice, the better you get. So good luck to you guys, and I hope to see you soon. Thank you for watching.